Aloha everyone, what is really good my dudes? Welcome to another RuneScape news coverage video. For this video, we're going to be talking about the Rex Matriarch, a trio of bosses aimed to come out next week. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's go.
Cats is the illest. What you talking about, Willis?
Alright guys, this is all information coming from the latest live stream. And here they revealed a new PVM encounter coming out next Monday, that is March 8th. So it's very exciting to see this. We have a trio of Rexes that will act as a new mid-level PVM encounter. Going forward, you can think of this basically as a new version of the Dagonnoth Kings because there is a ton of similarities in the way that they function as well as the rewards you get from this content. So just keep that in mind. It's very similar to a Dagonnoth Kings style piece of content. However, Dagonnoth's being a very low tier boss, this is more mid-level around the difficulty of God Wars Dungeon 2. So by no means is it a Raksha or Telos or anything like that. It's pretty casual for most of the PVM community, but I think it's been a while since they had a piece of PVM content that catered to this demographic. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to be happy about that at least. And do note that obviously being mid-tier content, the rewards will reflect that as well, which we'll be talking about towards the end of this video. So these new Rex Queens, if you want to think of them like that, will be located on Anachronia, so obviously you will need access to the island. Specifically, they can be found at the Spirit Grove in the center of Anachronia. Here there will be a teleporter that will take you to an underground ruin that ultimately leads to the boss themselves. Now a bit of backstory with this boss, which is actually revealed in the Orphan content, is that when Raksha was first discovered, it was far more powerful than what we see today. Had the ability to produce electricity, had frost abilities, had a poison acid that it had in its arsenal. The Dragonkin, either magically or surgically, removed these abilities from Raksha and grafted them onto these three dinosaurs. So that's the kind of thing you're going to see in terms of their abilities or combat mechanics. Anyways, once you enter the ruins here, you're going to have a preliminary area that will eventually lead into the boss lobby. This area actually is designed to be expanded on for future content. Right now it won't really have anything much more than just to be a visual piece, so you can go into free cam and see exactly how far these tunnels go, but they won't really serve any function until a later date, which is also good to know that there's going to be further content for this area. But just know that upon entering, you'll have to run through this ruin area that opens up into the boss lobby. Once in the boss lobby, you'll notice that these three Rexes are in the overworld, meaning that they are massable with any player who happens to come and visit the area. I think up to 50 people are allowed in one mass. Not that you would particularly want to mass this boss, but the option is available, considering, it is around a God Wars Dungeon 2 level in terms of its difficulty, so keep that in mind. Anyways, following the theme of Dagonnoth Kings, each three has their own combat style and is weak to the opposing side of that triangle. The other two combat styles that it is not weak to, it has very increased defense too. It's not completely immune, but it's more than worth it to use the effective combat style against each specific boss. There's a melee, ranged, and magic one, as you would expect. They do have a large roaming area, so when you enter, you could actually only stay in specific areas and will only have to deal with one of the three if that is your preferred method of approaching this boss, or you can obviously attack all three if you're willing, and it might actually provide a decent combat challenge because, like I said, they are around God Wars 2 bosses, so it's like essentially tanking three God Wars 2 bosses at once. So that'll be interesting if it's something that you want to try to challenge yourself on. They do have boss mechanics, unlike Dagonnoth Kings that just have auto attacks, and we only really got to see the Jagex ones. We don't really know what they do, but they are electric based, so you can see them on screen now exactly what they look like, but again, we don't know exactly how they function and exactly how you want to deal with them. But they did say, however, that the mechanics that the bosses do can in some way be utilized against the other bosses. So maybe there's like some AoE attack that you can force one of the bosses to plant in a specific area, maybe make the other boss walk onto that area. I don't know exactly what they mean by that, but to some extent, just know that you can use the mechanics of one of the bosses against the others, which will be interesting. Having said all that, I now want to talk about the types of rewards you can expect with this boss. boss. This is very reflective of Dagonnoth Kings because these bosses drop an upgrade item that can be added to the rings that you get from Dagonnoth Kings. There's one specific unique upgrade item for each of the 4 different rings that you get from Dagonnoth Kings, and when they are applied to the ring, not only do they increase the stats, but they have a unique effect for each combat style that they are associated with. Now do note, if you want to upgrade the item, you need to sacrifice not only the drop that you get from these bosses, but 10 of those Dagonnoth King rings associated with the item. So it's not just one ring and one upgrade item, it's the upgrade item and 10 rings. First off, we have the Heart of the Archer, which can be combined with the Archer's Ring to create the Stalker Ring, which will give you 30 range strength, 5 prayer bonus, and grants a 3% crit strike chance to bows. So it does not work with crossbows, specifically only bows, which makes it much less useful, but maybe it means going forward that they're going to do something to make bows much more in line with crossbows. So we'll see. Next up, we have the Heart of the Seer, combined out with the Seer's Ring to get the Channeler's Ring. This will provide a plus 30 strength bonus to magic, 5% prayer bonus, and grants a 4% stacking critical strike chance per hit during magic channeled abilities. So while the Ranger one wasn't very powerful, this is a pretty good one to use for magic. Next, we have the Heart of the Warrior, combine it with the Warrior's Ring, and you get the Champion's Ring. This is a plus 30 melee strength, plus 5 prayer bonus, and grants 3% crit chance against bleeding targets. So something that'll be more effective if you're using something like the Spear of Annihilation. Finally, we have the Heart of the Berserker. When combined with the Berserker Ring, it creates the Reaver Ring. This will give plus 27 to all stats, plus 5 prayer bonus, plus 25 armor bonus, and grants you a 5% crit strike chance at the cost of 5% accuracy. Next up, we have a new weapon being introduced from these bosses. That is Laniakea's Spear. When you're fighting, you have a chance of earning from any of the bosses one of 4 pieces for the spear. Each piece of the spear is tradable, and the spear completed itself is tradable as well. When you have all 4 pieces, all you gotta do is talk to Laniakea and you can assemble the spear to use for yourself. This is a tier 82 spear, but it is unique in that it has tier 90 damage, but at the cost of tier 75 accuracy. So while being much less accurate, it is an alternative to Noxious Scythe, specifically for things that don't require a high accuracy like Slayer tasks. Not only that, it increases your poison damage by 5%, and it has an additional 5% chance to apply weapon poison if you have it active. So assuming you have 100% accuracy, this should out DPS a Dragon Rider Lance. Similar to a Dragon Rider Lance and a Noxious Scythe, however, it also has the plus 2 range. So while not being the most powerful item, I can definitely see it having uses. Last thing I want to touch on is the boss pets. There are 3 different boss pets for this particular PVM encounter, one for each of the 3 different Rexes, and as you would expect, they are just mini versions of their larger forms, but they do look really cool, and I can see a lot of people wanting to hunt them down. They do have a really cool running animation you can see on screen, which does look a lot like a raptor from like the Jurassic Park movies. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this live stream. Once again, this is a new PVM encounter around the level of God Wars Dungeon 2, aimed to come out next week Monday, that is March 8th. So we're going to have this in our hands in a very short amount of time, and I am excited for it, even though it's not pushing the envelope in terms of difficulty in PVM. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up the video there. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet and you want to stay up to date on all things RuneScape related, then hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. I am out. Aloha.